Hey guys, how's it going? Today I am testing the 2018 Jeep Wrangler Sport 4x4. This is a cool little Jeep. It's snowing a little bit today, but I wanted to show you a little bit of an exterior walk around and just give some first impressions before it gets dirty, which is inevitable. Really nice spec on this. I think if I were to order one of these, this is kind of how I would do it. It's pretty base model, manual door locks, short wheelbase, 2-door, 6-speed manual transmission. Base price on this is just about 27 grand. It looks cool, and everyone gives you the Jeep wave. A little bit of trunk space there. Of course, all this scaffolding and plastic window stuff comes off. You can pull up the rear seats, get a little bit more trunk space in there. You've got a reverse camera right here. Tow hooks in the back. I love these black steel alloy wheels. Front seat pulls forward so you can get into the back pretty easily, though it does not quite resume to its previous position. This thing just looks cool. It looks the business. It is a little bit strange unlocking the doors with the key and then having to lock the doors with the key and then getting in and you have a push button start, but that's just the way it goes. I guess it's easier to take the doors off with just a few bolts when you don't have to worry about the electronics. Manual roll down windows. Nice Wrangler hold bar right here and up here. Sweet, let's take it for a drive. And of course you get a few little cool Jeep things in here. You've got the Jeep front end and the headlights. And on the windshield, you've got a little Jeep climbing up the hill there. Oh yeah. Nice sounding V6. Show you guys a little bit of infotainment. You basically just have a radio, compass. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth and all that good stuff. Pretty basic stuff. Stop start, which we're going to turn off. Traction control, which we're also going to turn off. We're going to leave it in 2 high. And head off. There's a backup camera. Nice visibility. Great high driving position in this Jeep. Clutch is light and easy to modulate. Got a nice slow steering rack with a ton of turning radius. I'll show you guys that a little bit later in the video. I will say that my experience driving Jeeps is pretty limited. I think I drove a last generation probably about 6 or 7 years ago, back in the OG days of Winding Road. And I was not impressed with its road manners. It was a pig to drive. This, at least from a suspension standpoint, is much more refined. It's really, really quite nice. On the road, it rides well. It's very livable. I could rock this. I could daily this. And on Michigan roads, it definitely isn't a punishing experience. Because of the ragtop, you do get a lot of wind noise and just some shakes and rattles from things, but that's kind of to be expected. On days except like today, chances are you're going to want to put some of that back and rock it with the top down. I will say these things are cool. They make you feel cool when you drive them. They look cool when you walk up to them. They've got a nice high driving position. This 6-speed isn't great, but it's fun. I feel like this shift knob is just a little bit large, maybe for my hand at least. I'm more of a fan of smaller shift knobs. There isn't a whole lot of clutch feel, shifter feel, steering feel, but just the kind of personality and the way this car drives over the road is entertaining to say the least, and it does just add a little bit to the experience. One thing I will note that bothered me at first, but I've gotten used to it just fine actually, is there isn't a dead pedal for the clutch. So your left foot doesn't really have anywhere to rest to the left of the pedal, but you can just put it down next to the pedal and it's perfectly comfortable when you're not shifting gears. As you can hear, pretty loud on the highway, a lot of noise from other traffic coming through the canvas top, decent amount of wind noise. And you've got super tall gearing in this particular Jeep, sitting at 2,000 RPM, 1,900 RPM at 70 miles per hour. Easy to heel toe downshift. This engine is nice and responsive. One thing I will note, when cornering, you get basically traction control lighting up on the dashboard constantly. Under hard braking, you'll dip into ABS immediately unless if you preload the front end and you get some weight over those front tires. It drives like a Jeep, but a better Jeep. And I think that's kind of what they were going for with this new 2018 models, just to make it a little bit more livable on the daily basis and have better road manners as well as better off-road abilities as well. When you're not bouncing off the rev limiter, power is really good from this Pentastar V6. It really pulls nicely. It is definitely a good, powerful engine. It's smooth, works well with this manual transmission, and it's relatively efficient. I believe highway miles to the gallon is rated at 25. I don't have any reason not to believe that. City is around 17, I believe. And between a lot of mixed highway-city driving, I've been averaging, according to the readout, about 19 miles to the gallon. Although there is a lot of wind noise at high speeds, it does feel stable up to 80 miles an hour plus. I don't feel like I'm moving around a lot. It feels nice and well planted over the road, even at highway speeds. You know, I really do appreciate cars in the modern age that are they're a little bit of a throwback, and they have some bare bones, basic creature comforts. My BRZ is a little bit like that. It kind of reminds me of a brand new car from the 90s, and this has kind of the same vibe to it, except of course these have a much longer and more illustrious history. Show you guys this turning radius here. This is pretty phenomenal. Look at that. Amazing. And like I said earlier, this specific spec, I'm a big fan of the way this Jeep is spec'd. It really kind of speaks to me as far as what I would go for personally. Think of it as the enthusiast version of the Wrangler. No locking diffs, but you do have 4 high, 4 low. Unless if you're doing any crazy wheeling, that should get you through most stuff. The short wheelbase rides pretty well over the bumps, and I don't really have any complaints as far as ride quality goes. Pretty impressed, and I think that's the big win here with the new 2018 JL Wranglers. So there you go, guys. Those are kind of our first impressions. A couple weeks ago, I shot this exact Jeep for Car and Driver, and we pulled off the top, and it took a little bit of time to get everything off, but just this top section comes off pretty easily. But the rest of it is a little bit of it's like you're taking apart a tent. I think after some practice, you'd be able to do a pretty good job, but we actually ended up breaking a piece in the back, and that was a little bit of a bummer, but it can be a little bit nitpicky to fiddle with. Personally, I'd probably end up with the hard top just for reduced wind noise and whatnot, but on those nice summer days, it would be great to put the top down. Alright, well, I've got this car for the next few days. We're going to be doing some more videos on Winding Road, and then I'll try to do a night video or something in the dark for the Topher as well, and give you guys just a little bit more thoughts at the end of the week. But for now, I do like this thing. It is fun to drive. It makes you feel like a badass, and I've definitely warmed up to these Jeeps more after spending some more seat time in this particular one, and I can get it. And the Jeep Wave is a thing. Everyone does it. It's cool. Before this, the only wave I've been used to is a Miata Wave. Nobody waves in BRZs. That's it. Forget about it. Catch you guys later.